Amanda Conda is yet another awful TikTok mother who has gained infamy for having a horrifically messy home.
I did have my daughter go under the bed and push all the trash out. You'll see here soon. After I clean up this corner, what it looks like. It is insane. Get my house ready with me so CPS can come over!
However, calling her messy is honestly being too generous, because just messy implies a lack of order, which, yes, that definitely is a thing, but as you're about to see, this goes far beyond being just messy. It's filthy, it's disgusting, and it's downright dangerous, and then when you add into the equation the 2 children that she has, it also verges on abusive. And I don't use that word lightly, despite what you might believe when you scroll on my channel for about a minute. Before we get into any of that, be sure to subscribe to said channel. I was so moved by all the really polite threats that you guys were giving me in the comments of the last video, and thanks to the exposure therapy of being lambasted with the world's most kind-hearted intimidation tactics, I've overcome my fear. I'm no longer scared anymore, so thank yous all for teaching me bravery, limping my biscuit, and subscribing to the channel. Anyway, here's one of Amanda's most popular TikToks so that you can get a feel for the type of content that we're looking at today.
Good morning, and we are back with another bedroom cleaning video. I did have my daughter go under the bed and push all the trash out. You'll see here soon. After I clean up this corner, what it looks like. It is insane.
I mean, I'm honestly wondering how your wee daughter got underneath that bed without dying in the first place. That looks like the kind of place that you bury a body after brutally murdering it to hide it from the police. But unbeknownst to you, and very unfortunately for your plans, that body is in fact still alive and is trying to escape from underneath your bed. If your tactics of murder didn't work on it the first time, though, the very fact that it is underneath that bed would probably kill it off. So unless you're killing skunks, I have no idea how any living organism is underneath that bed right now. And you might think that I'm being insensitive right off the bat because this is the first TikTok we've seen. This isn't a running trend for people who haven't seen her before. For everyone who knows who Amanda is, this is indeed a running trend that has been going on for 5 years, and there is no visual or verbal confirmation on her end that she is in fact changing or is making any attempt to change. If anything, the exact opposite is happening. Now that's something that we'll obviously get into more and more as this video goes on, but for now I'll let the rest of this video play out because she makes some bullshit points that need to be addressed.
And I just wanted to address, like, most of my comments are like, there's no excuse for this, there's no excuse for this, and I know that. I'm not making one. So quit commenting it, because I'm not making any excuse. This is absolutely horrible, and I hate that I have come to this again. You know, I've been dealing with this battle for 4 or 5 years now, you know, probably my whole life. I never was taught to clean very well, you know, so I don't have those kind of skills like most people do, but
you can't hate this sort of lifestyle that much when you're bragging on TikTok comments about how much money this TikTok account gets you and literally saying verbatim that this lifestyle and this amount of dirt and filth is quote-unquote worth it. On top of just being one of the most disorderly, messy, filthy people that I've ever come across on the internet, she's also a liar and horrifically fake. Nothing new on that end, it's mainly the filth that is like the surprising factor here.
Here I'm trying to get my daughter to be here helping me. She was eager to help me. She loved coming under the bed and pushing all this garbage out. As you can see here, she's loving it. So I had her push everything out, and you guys are probably gonna have to come back for the next video to see the finished results. We gotta go through this stuff and throw away all the trash. And to all that has been supporting me through everything, I really appreciate you, and I promise you, you will see a change. Don't forget to come back to the next video.
We'll soon come to find out that Amanda here is very, very shit at keeping promises. Also, what does she mean? As you can see, she's loving pushing the garbage out of the bottom of the bed. We can't see anything because of the sheer amount of garbage. And we don't know what's in that pile of trash because they don't even know what's in that pile of trash. It's unbelievable that it even got to that point. And she says it twice in the last 20 seconds of the video about, oh, come back for the next video. Stay tuned, guys. Leaving us on a magnificent cliffhanger of epic proportions. How clean is the room gonna look after this mega sweep? And that's a small window into the potential manufacturing and fake storyline that she's come across and made here in order to solicit views. Because as far as I can tell, this is the cycle that her content goes through, right? She is a habitual hoarder. She's been doing this for years and years and years, and she constantly promises her audience, now is the time that I make a change. So more people come in, more people watch her videos expecting a change. They're like, I can't wait to stick around, see the change happen. It'll be really satisfying. and then, oh no, she relapses. And then she promises a change again, and more people come in, and so on and so forth, and it's just a self-fulfilling cycle that goes on forever. It's like the Amber Lynn Reid thing. For anyone familiar with Amber Lynn Reid, it's pretty much the same thing that's going on here, but with weight loss.
I would like to address a few things in my comments about my bedroom. I know what it looked like. I know it's foul. I know it's wrong. And nobody's making an excuse for it. Like, I don't understand why everybody's like, quit making excuses. I'm not. I'm literally not. And my daughter wanted to go under the bed and push everything out. She wanted to do that. I didn't force her to do it. I didn't tell her to do it. She's like, yeah, mommy, I'll go under there and push everything out. So to the people saying that you shouldn't be making your daughter do that, she wanted to. And no, the bedroom is not finished yet because I had to like cook dinner for my family and do all the other mom stuff. So I took a pause on that. But we are going to get back at it today. I do have to run to the bank first. So that's going to be a little while. Literally all the laundry that's from my bedroom is right in front of my door.
Your daughter probably wanted to push the trash from the bottom of the bed because she wanted to live in a clean house. And as much as she doesn't make excuses, which to be fair, on all the videos that I've seen, she doesn't really make that many excuses. She never points to mental health or whatever. There is clearly a problem here though, and don't get me wrong, because I'm not here to discount the possibility or even the definicy of her having a mental health issue. Like, it's without doubt a thing that is going on here. And I understand that hoarders do exist. It's a real disorder that needs to be taken seriously and treated with sympathy. But the fact is, this has been going on for 5 years. It's not been getting better. It's been getting worse year after year after year. And when she's posting comments saying that this lifestyle is worth it for the $5,000 that she gets every month, the $5,000 that she doesn't use to clean the house that she lives in, it does seem to me as though she wants the house to be dirty to some extent, because that is what got her TikTok account so popular to begin with, and that is the source of that $5,000 a month. Clean house, no views. That's just the facts. And that is not me disregarding the pain that this woman clearly is in, by the way. But it would be one thing if she was one person living in one room of a flat, right? Even if it was like a shared living arrangement, that's one thing, right? But when you introduce kids into the equation, you have to power through that sort of depression that a lot of parents go through, even if you are a hoarder, and make that living environment as safe and comfortable as possible, especially because you have a husband. This is on him as well, by the way. Not that not being a single mother makes this situation incredibly easy. This is not an amount of mess that can be cleaned up in one day, but you need to make more of an effort for sure. Now, CPS actually does get involved. That is the most recent update on Amanda, and that is the reason why videos are being made on her at the minute. So we'll get to that one later, because it's definitely important for you to know why CPS has been called and the context behind all of that before we actually get to that point.
This is everything that came out of that bedroom.
For the record, that wasn't my music choice to like avoid copyright or anything. This woman just genuinely seems to think that cleaning her room is like a Paramore music video. To be fair, if you put Amanda on stage with Bring Me the Horizon, I honestly believe she'd fit right in. Now, one thing that I do need to establish early on in this video is the amount of animals that this woman and the family owns, because that is a big part of why the house is so messy, and it is something that needs fixed immediately.
Okay, you guys better buckle up because you're gonna love this one. This is a KZKR clean water spin mop, and let me tell you, when I say I fell in love with this thing with the first swipe. All you do is put clean water and a little bit of your floor cleaner in the cleaning compartment. Pull the little lever at the bottom so it can spin freely and push down. And the pads were soaking wet. And then you snap it back together and get on your way. Look at that swipe. Look at that first swipe. I mean, I just did this only a couple days ago. But with 4 kids, 3 dogs, 3 cats, and my husband all tracking through here.
I don't know what it is with these weird TikTok family channels and owning loads of pets when they clearly do not have the money or resources to do so, because it's not fair on the people that live in the house, and it's also not fair on the pets. Mainly the children though, because the rooms are that messy. That tells me that they're not cleaning up those cats' litter trays. And if the cats' litter trays aren't being cleaned up, then the cats have nowhere to litter other than the floor. And at that point, it doesn't really matter how much you broom or mop or hoover. It doesn't matter. Those feces have sunk their way into that rug or carpet, whatever you call them in America, and there is now permanent stainage, permanent fucking awful stenches there. What needs to be done realistically is someone needs to be hired to rip that carpet away and replace it with a new one, or just, you know, stick with the floor. Like, those carpets in the house are beyond repair. They cannot be left in the house in that condition like that, in my opinion. Luckily, there is actually a video of Amanda cleaning the carpet, so if you wanted evidence that what I'm saying is absolutely true, then have a watch.
Holy shit!
Now here is the water that has come out of that cleaning of the carpet. Yeah, you see that disgusting, unhospitable, fucking sweltering... Oh my god, it's awful. That liquid is awful. That is where your kids, your cats, and your dogs all live their lives. That is where they're all walking around, writhing around, rolling about like kids and dogs and cats do, in their bare feet a lot of the time. It's just not something that is acceptable, in my opinion. And those carpets, I'm not sure if you'll agree, are in fact beyond repair.
I think I'm having an anxiety attack. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. The water is coming up again, and I turned off all the water, and I don't know what to do, and the plumber's not gonna be here until 10, and I'm just freaking the fuck out.
Mom, sit down.
I just wanted to update everybody that it is now fixed. A plumber came, they snaked it. I had a really bad anxiety attack, if you can't tell. But everything's all good. We're all good. Hopefully it stays. I took a shower for the first time in 3 days. That was amazing.
Now, as much as the concept of having an anxiety attack and the first reaction to said attack is grabbing your phone and filming yourself crying and having your daughter comfort you is so alien and foreign to me personally, like it's something that I would never ever see myself doing and never would do, because I genuinely could not think of anything worse to do in that moment. If I'm having an anxiety attack, I want to be on my ones or around somebody who is there to support me through it. I do not want to be recording the whole thing, focusing on getting a good angle on my face, or it's just not so, just not part of my mindset. It's not my default setting by any means, but I'm not here to deny the fact that this is a real anxiety attack. I would never do that to someone. In fact, I don't doubt that this is a real anxiety attack, and I don't doubt that this woman is in a lot of pain constantly, because how could you not be depressed with a bedroom like that? I know that sounds derogatory, but I'm being completely real here. Like, if you have a bedroom that is as filthy as the one that she has and has shown in her videos, of course you'll be depressed. I'd be more scared of you if you weren't depressed by that fact. And the fact that she doesn't use that depression as an excuse in any of her videos does make me think that there is a fleck of realness inside of her and a real, genuine amount of wanting to change. So there is sympathy here for sure. She is nowhere near as bad as a lot of the other TikTok mothers that we've spoken about. But the fact is, the place that you sleep, in my opinion, is an extension of yourself. Like, your bedroom is an extension of how you are doing mentally, and if it's messy, it's fucked, it's dirty, it's unhospitable, then of course, mentally, you'll be fucked, you'll be depressed. She's also not showered in 3 days, like she said in the video. That's another textbook sign of depression. But the issue here really is that she is not damaging just herself or even her husband, who we don't see much on the videos, and that's fine. Maybe he just wants privacy, which is whatever, right? We do see her kids a lot though, and I'm sure you guys know how I feel about exploiting your kids for TikTok fame already, but whatever, right? The kids are on her TikTok account, and a lot of the time they do look rather happy, which is something that a lot of people point to in defense of Amanda. And whilst yes, the kids definitely do look relatively happy on the videos that are being filmed here, that just isn't enough for me, unfortunately. Because, first of all, obviously she's not going to show the kids in distress, which there is no doubt, by the way, that these kids are in distress very often. Like I said, it's just impossible not to be. But the fact is that the mess we're seeing in these videos, I'll play a video of the kitchen now, because we've not seen that yet.
Before I can even put anything away, I have a chore.
See, I'm sure you'll agree that having a fridge like that in a house with this many children is just not acceptable once again. And if this was the one thing that was messy in the entirety of the household and the rest of the house was just a normal house with 3 dogs, 3 cats, and 2 kids, obviously not pristine, aesthetic home, right? It's gonna be messy. But I don't care what anyone says, this living arrangement goes far beyond, about 1,000,000 times beyond just a normal house with children type of mess. It's complete filth, and you can't help but imagine when those children are babies and they're just crawling around, running about, doing what kids do, the amount of choking hazards that are on the floor, and the amount of actual piss stinking, absolute smelly gobshite that's stuck around that gaff as well. When these kids go to school, they can't smell good. Or rather, they can't smell anything other than fucking horrible. And beyond that, there's no way that those kids are ever gonna bring their pals over to their house. And if they do, they're in for a very rude awakening. It's gonna be very embarrassing for them. That's just one of the potentially many, many traumas that could come out of living in a house like this at such a young age. Or even any age for that matter. But kids deserve a level of comfort that isn't this. And it's especially insulting when you self-admittedly do have the money to make a change and fix this. Like, I know $5 doesn't make you rich by any means, but it's enough money to really make a good amount of change and hire some people who know what they're doing and would love to help you. And I know those people aren't cheap, but I mean, it's definitely worth it.
Good morning, everybody. I told you I was gonna hold myself accountable. Even though I don't want to do this, I am doing it. Now, your guess is as good as mine where this all came from. This little spot over here looks kind of like rust, all that orangeness.
This is what I mean. The floor is downright filthy. It's rusty, it's disgusting, and the kid's just prancing about it barefoot, and this is a normal thing for them. This is not like a one-time occasion. This is how these human beings and dogs and cats live their daily lives. There is no doubt in my mind that these kids go to school smelling of cat piss and dog shit, which is obviously unsettling for the people around those children. Like, their teachers definitely don't have a good impression of these parents, and it's very embarrassing for the children themselves, who are probably constantly being told that they fucking stink. You just gotta feel bad for everyone involved, including Amanda to an extent, but I mean, the sympathy and empathy that I have for her is not an excuse for her behavior by any means. It's like she says herself, there aren't really any excuses for this type of behavior, and as much as you are acknowledging the fact that there aren't any excuses, that doesn't negate the horrible shit that you're doing to the people in your life. I'll show you all a video from 5 years ago, because it's really weird just how much more reasonable the house looked 5 years back. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not perfect by any means, but if you were to sit there and tell me, unironically, genuinely, with all of your heart, that this is just how the house got when you live with 2 children, 3 dogs, and 3 cats, I would say, yeah, this is a believable amount of mess to come out of a living arrangement like that. And I believe that, right? This is a totally reasonable amount of mess for a family of that size. Probably on the lower end of reasonable, like it is definitely something that should be worked on, but it is something that I would believe you are working on when you make videos like this and post them to TikTok. However, 5 years later, as you guys have seen, it has only gotten worse, and she has become more and more uppity and almost proud of the fact that she is producing these messes, as shown by that comment that I showed you earlier. You might think that I'm putting too much emphasis on that one comment, but the words "worth it" really stick in my mind, because I can't help but think that that's not a word or term you would use unless you were doing all this specifically for the money and for the views that you know it will solicit. You can tell me if you think I'm being overdramatic there, but I really get a bad impression from that comment.
Helped a little. Ugh.
Jesus fucking, she's got a fridge like a sewer and an oven like Chernobyl. And those are 2 places where food is stored and eaten and prepared from. So the food that this family are consuming come from those 2 places that are fucking filthy and unhospitable. There is no way that this family isn't regularly extremely ill. And once again, that is just something that is not fair at all on those children. You can see from this video that the house is also predictably infested with wee critters as well.
And the moment all of us have been waiting for. Yeah, I just realized this might not work for what I want it to, but that's okay. We gotta work with what we got here. And what I got is a wall mop. Fluff her out a little bit. Go for it, I guess. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to like exchange this thing so quickly. Don't get your fire. Thank you. All that, and that's what I get?
Yeah, it looks like Spider-Man had a fight scene in your house, to be honest with you. It's cobwebs galore, which is obviously to be expected in a house of this magnitude with filth this massive. But once again, it's something that is so extremely harmful. I've got a little anecdote for this because as much as I'm criticizing this woman, I have known people like this before, and I've stayed in houses that are similar to this before. Even, in fact, not quite as bad, to be fair. They probably weren't quite as bad, but they are in conditions that solicit a lot more critters and beasts. You know what I mean? Beasts is what they call insects up here in Scotland, by the way. I wasn't being harassed by the angry Gruffalo or a huge Yeti. But back when I was in Egypt, I was with someone, I won't mention any specifics because a lot of people watch these videos, but I was in a flat, or apartment, I think it is that you Americans call it, and I was staying here for about a month, and it was fucking filthy. It was about as bad as this. Probably not as bad, but it was a lot hotter because it was Egypt, and as you all know, hot, humid climates attract a lot of cockroaches, which there is no doubt in my mind that there are cockroaches all around this gaff here. And the thing is, there were so many cockroaches in this gaff. I think they were like the German variant of cockroaches, which are quite popular in Egypt, but you can correct me on that if I'm wrong. And during the day, you wouldn't really see them much. You would see the occasional one, which is how you know it's really bad when you see them out during the day, because that's how you know they're fucking confident now. They've got some balls on them. They're walking about with chest. That's like prancing about enemy territory without any weapons on you. It's like, fuck me, you are a confident man. You've got some oomph about you and you are not to be fucked with. Well, that is what these cockroaches were like. When I would switch the lights off, however, it would go from 1 or 2 cockroaches that I could see every now and then to huge infestations of cockroaches that would just fucking swarm the household, swarm everyone sleeping. I was the only person sleeping in this one room. I wasn't on a bed or anything, I was just on the floor and I had a little cover on me. And I would turn the lights off and I would try to get to bed, get to sleep in about 30 seconds, because any more than 30 seconds and I would start to feel these cockroaches crawling on me, and it would annoy the ever-living shit out of me. And it wouldn't just annoy me, it would scare me, because they'd go for my ears. But yeah, mate, they were all over, they'd tickle my shoulders, my chest, my bum, my fucking back, my feet, my legs. It was terrible. Genuinely fucking traumatizing. I know it sounds not like, oh, it's just a couple of bugs on your body. Mate, you guys, anyone who knows what I'm talking about, anyone who's been through something similar, you know what I'm talking about, and you understand the struggle. Because it was every night, and I couldn't sleep. And sleep deprivation for that amount of time is a real genuine issue that can really fuck you up. And even when I could get to sleep, I'd wake up about 2 minutes later because it was just so unbearable. Eventually, I found that the only way to keep the cockroaches off you would be to turn the lights off and then completely enclose yourself in that blanket or cover that you had or whatever. Unfortunately for me, I forgot that I lived in fucking Egypt, which I don't know if you guys know this, is kind of notorious for being hot, to say the least. And there was no aircon in this house or fans, it was just a mess. So when I put the cover on, even if I did get to sleep, I'd wake up a couple seconds later because it was so unbearably hot and I'd sweat my fucking bollocks off. And it would get to the point where if I went to itch my skin, it just, oh my god, the pain it caused, it was just so irritating, it was awful, I couldn't do it. So eventually you just have to submit yourself, chuck the cover off and let those critters walk all over you. And one night I did get to sleep after about a week of not sleeping. I was unconscious, I wasn't asleep, you know what I mean? And when I woke up I realized that I couldn't hear out of my left ear, and to this day my left ear is a little bit fucked. Like in terms of I'll hear ringing every now and then. My right ear's a little bad as well, but it mainly affected the left ear because so many cockroaches were crawling into it and rupturing those eardrums with their tiny fucking abhorrent legs. I won't go into gory details about how it's fucked, but it's not good. Like, I would really prefer if that did not happen. And look, this might seem like a bit of an unrelated anecdote, but it really isn't in my opinion, because like I said, that house was nowhere near as bad as the house that we're seeing in these videos. Like, yeah, the fridge was messy, but it was not that bad. And the oven was also dirty, but it wasn't that dirty. Fair enough, the house might have been hotter than the house that we're seeing in this video, but I don't think it makes that much difference. And if that house that wasn't as dirty as this one could have caused me permanent damage, I have no doubt that these kids are living in real actual danger. When I say that these living conditions in this amount of filth is dangerous, I am not fucking exaggerating. This is not a hospitable place for these children to live, or even the adults for that matter, or the dogs, or the cats. The only living things that can live in a place like this are rats, mice, spiders, and fucking cockroaches. And by the way, something I just remembered, we know that these people do in fact have cockroaches because one of the children tried to eat one, and they put it up on TikTok as a ha-ha funny moment.
This guy found a nasty snack. I overcame my fear and got the little fucker.
Now, I don't know if it's just me personally that will have a lot more of a visceral reaction to that video, because I myself am not a fan of having cockroaches inside of me, so I don't know if yous will have the same reaction I do to that video, but fuck me, man. Cockroaches give me actual PTSD. I can't handle them. That might be the actual genuine reason why I'm such a fucking mess now when it comes to cleaning the gaff. I lived in uni dorms for about a year in my first year of uni. I couldn't handle it. I could not handle handle. And I've lived with people before who are messy, whatever. I can't deal with it, man. So I don't know if I'm just too much of a clean freak to be commenting on this account as, I guess, reasonably as a lot of people might do, because I might be the extreme end of cleanliness, if that makes sense. That's not to say that I'm not messy every now and then if I'm having a bit of a down spell, but I'm never this filthy. And messy and filthy are very different things. That's why at the beginning of this video I made a distinction about how this is not mess, because mess is just disorderly, right? Oh, I put my plushies in the sink. Oh, silly me. What a mess I've made. Filth is like, oh my god, I've shat on the floor and I can't be bothered to clean it up. I'll sort it out in a month or so. And the latter is unfortunately a lot more accurate to what is going on here than the former. I had a roommate, by the way, who shat on the floor, so that's not even an inaccurate description of what goes on in houses like these. I went up to him and I was like, mate, there's shit on the fucking floor, and he had the audacity to look at me dead in the eyes and say, oh, it wasn't me. It's like, who the fuck was it then? This is a 2-person flat. It wasn't me. Are you saying that a masked bandit snuck into the room and fucking took a shit on the floor, didn't take anything, and then left the gaff just to prank us?
Come on, guys, really? How could you be mad at that? He is the freaking cutest, and I love him so much. So now I have about 3 or 4 baskets of clean clothes that I need to separate and go through. I did get a bag for donations. You see me fight with this little dinosaur suit that I almost kept for him that was a little bit too small, but I ended up donating it. And, you know, I just put it in my head like he doesn't need it. He's not going to wear it. It's almost the end of summer, or almost the end of winter, and he's not going to be able to wear it much longer. So I donated it, and I feel really strong and proud about that, because we need to get rid of clothes and crap. I also want to say thank you to everybody who's been here supporting me through this journey of mine. I know I have been going through this for years, but this is different. I could feel it. I just know this is going to be different, because we're going to thrive in 2025.
And that last sentiment there that she gives at the end of this video about how this time it's going to be different, we're really improving this time, that's the sort of thing I was talking about earlier, because she says that every time. And every time is about every month when we really think about it and go back on her channel. It's just difficult for me to believe that it's not a marketing tactic at this point, because she probably knows that every time she does something like that and she checks her stats the next day, she gets a bit of a spike of people joining in and wanting to see the improvement. That video has 2 million views. And then when you combine that with the comment of her saying that the $5 a month that she's making via these videos is worth it, quote unquote, then it really does make you wonder what the intentions here actually are.
That don't come off.
Maybe put a bit more effort into it. All you did was really wipe it with a sponge, get some pink stuff on it, get some hot water and rub it down with some fucking product. You're literally just using a sponge and rubbing it and expecting everything to fix itself. She seems to be okay at cleaning messes up in the rooms, like the really easy shit of, oh, there is something on this part of the room. I'm going to pick it up and put it in a different place on the planet. Like, I don't know, maybe a bin. That much she seems to be okay at because she has 2 fucking arms, but the actual cleaning bit, I mean, suffice it to say, it needs some work. Which is why if I were her, I would hire somebody to do it, because I'm making money. I'm making enough money on TikTok to hire people to do it. Yes, it will put a significant dent in the amount of money I'm making, but my god, is it worth it? You want to talk about something being worth it? That is what is worth it.
I just walked in to this. Oh no. My washer drains into here. I know, this is the next project. And this was in here, and this got plugged into here. So all the water that was draining out of here overflowed, went into the cat box, overflowed everything out here. And we just got back from the park to see this. Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, look at the litter box. I'm catching the litter box in that. I think that's the cat's litter. It's just as bad as I thought it would be. When the litter box is full, the cats have nowhere else to go. So they are just shitting on the floor, and those kids are definitely going to school stinking of feces. Like, there's no doubt about it. You have no idea how difficult it is to get certain smells out of walls and that. You know, this third-hand smoke, where if you smoke inside of a room, potentially for the next few years, people who go into that room are gonna be inhaling the same smoke that you've been consistently smoking in it for years. So if that can have that much of an effect, if you are constantly allowing shit to just be thrown about in the carpets and walls of your actual house, and there's this much filth being built up, you are entering, if not already gone way past the boundary of irreparable damage. I'm astounded that your landlord hasn't actually done anything about your tenancy. They must have a really shit landlord. You know what, guys? As another anecdote, I know there's a lot of anecdotes in this video. I'm gonna put some pictures up of the old flat that I lived in. This is the place I lived in before this one. There are actually videos on my channel of me in this place. As you can see, when I moved into it, this is the day I moved in, it was fucking disgusting. And it was obviously, the pictures did not look like this. The pictures look completely reasonable, completely fine for a student flat. I'm talking there's dried blood on the floor, there were used tampons just littered about the house from the previous tenants that were knocking about. The sink was full of dishes, not even from, we just moved in, the sink was still full of dishes, the fridge was as filthy, honestly, genuinely as filthy as the one in this video here. I mean, the pictures really do speak for themselves. The shower was disgusting. It was like, mate, I couldn't, it was so difficult to live here. And when I did move in, we bought dehumidifiers that would fill up in a couple hours. Like, I'm not even joking. They were big dehumidifiers in 2 hours or so, completely full. The air was disgusting, and to this day, I don't feel the same after living in that house for the amount of time that I did. It was like 8 months or so. It got me seriously, genuinely, actually, horrifically, it's the illest, it's the sickest I've ever been in my entire life. I was having trouble breathing, I was that ill, and I was depressed as all fuck. Because I'd wake up after 10 hours of sleep, and within 2 hours, I'd be too tired to function. Because the air in that house was just that bad. Everything was that horrible. And the only way that I was allowed to function again was that I got an IV drip hooked up on me, because I needed it, and it was just pumped full, chock-a-block full of vitamins and nutrients and a bunch of shit that I don't even know how to pronounce. And they just pumped loads and loads of that into my wrist, and it entered my bloodstream, and I was alright for the next month. I've even got some old footage of me when I lived in that place on this YouTube channel, in fact, and you can see visibly, my hairline was worse. My skin was so much paler. I looked horrifically worse for wear. You guys think my eye bags are bad now? Look at the videos back then. And as you can see from the pictures, yeah, it's bad. Horrific even. Unhospitable. Genuinely unhospitable. But if that's unhospitable, how the fuck is this acceptable? It's not. Because this is about 10 times worse than the stuff that I was living in. I'm one of the fucking lucky ones. So I feel nothing but complete sympathy for these children who are having to grow up in these conditions. It is not going to be good for them mentally, physically, anything. This is bad. So bad on so many levels. And it's just depressing. Genuinely depressing. Because it's not something that is just purely a sign of, I don't know, being irresponsible or whatever. It's something that stems from real depression, real mental disorders that affect a lot of people. But the fact that this person has documented her mental disorder and how horrible it's made her house and her living situation, and that has seemed to do well for her, it has now encouraged her to continue doing such a thing and manipulating her audience into coming back and tuning in for more, thus making her more money that she doesn't use to actually clean the house that her and her children live in. It's a horrifically depressing and tragic situation. Now, luckily, I don't live in that flat anymore. I live in a far better one now. So when I say, I know I say this a lot, but when I say thank you guys so much for tuning into the videos, I genuinely mean it, because you guys, unironically, got me out of that situation by allowing me to live in a much better place that I can afford thanks to you guys. I know I'm taking a detour from the subject at hand here, but I really do genuinely mean it when I say thank yous all so much. I really appreciate you being here. Anyway, CPS.
Why do you honestly think I live in this most filthy, trashed house in the whole world? Like, CPS is not gonna come fuck with me. They want real cases, man. My house is messy, yes. And I got crumbs on my floor, yes. But I vacuum every day. But what TikTok doesn't show you is when I actually get it done. I am fucking over this, man. Leave me alone. If you don't fucking like it, keep scrolling. Leave me alone.
So this is a video from 5 years ago, and I think it really does say a lot. Because she's frustrated that TikTok will not show videos of her actually trying to make a real change. It will only show the videos of the house being a fucking disaster to live in. And she does not seem this frustrated at the algorithm nowadays because she's figured out how to work it in a way that works for her financially. So in my mind, this is just further evidence that she is in fact gaming the system and using the filth in her house to her advantage and doesn't really want it to be fixed as much as she says she does want it to be fixed. I know I keep bringing up that comment, but we don't need to look any further than her very channel description. Hashtag normalize the mess, mum of 4. So I thought it was 2 children. I guess it was 2 at one point. There's actually 4 children at the minute. 4 children, 3 cats, 3 dogs, a mother and a husband in a place like this. I don't think I even need to explain how horrible that is at this point. But also, the normalize the mess hashtag that is in every one of her videos, it's in her channel description, it's something that she heavily preaches. No, let's not normalize the mess. This cannot be normalized. It needs to be supported, treated with empathy. Sure. It's like having an eating disorder, for example. Anorexia. We'll pick anorexia, for example. Things like normalize the mess can be akin to those pro-ana groups, which actively encourage people to develop anorexia because they're just so mentally damaged that they genuinely see that as a coping mechanism of sorts, when, you know, deep down, they're very depressed people who need a lot of support. Anorexia, or this type of hoarding disorder, are both things that should not be normalized. Now, they're not things that deserve any shame either. They're things that deserve a lot of genuine care, love, and support, and there are people out there who are willing to give that sort of care and support to people like this who are in genuine need of it. And she has the money to pay for those people to help her out as well. But I just have a really big problem with the term normalize the mess. There is nothing about this situation that is normal, nor should it be normal. Anyway, here's her talking about CPS 5 years later, and as you can see, her tone and vibe is very different now. A lot more manufactured and almost happy, dare I say, despite the living conditions getting infinitely worse. Says a lot, really, doesn't it?
Get my house ready with me so CPS can come over.
Yeah, you should not be doing the fucking whip nay-nay when CPS are coming over to your gaff to check on the safety of your 4 fucking children. This is abhorrent behavior, and all the sympathy that I have for her it's very difficult to feel sorry for somebody when they're acting like this so publicly. It's grim. I am a potential danger to the physical and mental well-being of my 4 children. The future of America is fucked, baby! I mean, it's already not looking good, but you know what I mean. My kids might be taken away from me and put into foster care, which is notoriously dangerous and impractical facility. It's like, do you want your children to be taken away from you, lass? Like, why are you so happy? I'm not, because if you're not happy, why are you pretending to be happy? It's really fucking odd. It's so strange. Here's the exciting news I wanted to share. That is not an appropriate description to this video at all.
Have to change your butt because you got a stanky in there. Oh. Now that we have taken care of his butt, here's what the living room situation is. I know I have not carpet cleaned yet, but that I am definitely going to have to pull this guy out today. The table, I don't know why it turns into a catch-all, but it does. Dogs. The kitchen, I definitely do need to get some dishes done. And then declutter this. I don't know why, but this gets cluttered up, which is random. And then this is my husband's room where he sleeps. I get it. The carpets are disgusting. This is my boys' room. I'm going to vacuum, clearly. Vacuum that. I think that's styrofoam. My oldest is autistic and he has pica. So that's what that is. And then my room, I know the carpets are disgusting. I just got this pile to take care of, and that's it. Now I know what you're gonna ask. Am I worried? No, not at all. I am a good mom. I take care of my kids. They have heat. They have a roof over their head. They have lots of food. They have beds to sleep in. They have clean clothes.
That's the bare minimum, by the way. That is something that every parent should be giving their children. It's not a flex at all, and it doesn't make you a good mother that you give your children those things. It would make you a bad mother if you weren't giving your children those things, if you had the facilities to do so, but it doesn't make you a good mother for doing those things, because those are things that all children deserve.
Okay, you guys want an update? Obviously, the carpets are crap, so, there's nothing I can do about that currently, but I am going to fold those blankets. Little guy is asleep right now. The boys' room is nice and clean. Currently in this room, I just need to, like, fix this and fix that. Again, there is nothing at this time I can do about the carpets. They're not taking my children because my carpets are fucking dirty. I'm working on it. After I finish the room, I'm gonna do this and this and finish up in the bathroom. Also, I know somebody's gonna go, oh, look at all the filth. This I could probably get clean, but this is lifting away. So I can't get that clean. It stays like that. Just because my home doesn't look like it belongs in a magazine does not mean it's an okay environment for my kids to be. If you guys ever watch Hoarders, you know, like they bring in a social worker and they get everything all nice and cleaned up and everything, but yet the carpets are still kind of damaged and dirty.
The issue is that your house doesn't belong in a magazine. The issue is that it does belong in a magazine, just not the type of magazine that you're probably thinking of, lass. And also, just saying that it is an okay environment for your children to live in does not make it an okay environment for your children to live in. As I've detailed in this video, it is very much not an okay environment.
They are so proud of how good their house is and everything. Yeah, the carpet's a little messy and dirty, and that's to come. That is to be taken care of. But boy, some of you all are just really holding tight to my old videos and saying that I have not improved. The real ones can see where my improvement has been. And no, it's not because CPS is coming over. This was going to happen anyways. It's just, I'm getting it done quicker.
We've seen what your house looks like 5 years ago. It just was better 5 years ago than it is now. I don't know what to tell you. That's just the facts. And the fact that you've shown no improvement until CPS are coming over, they're knocking on your door, potentially taking your children away and ruining your reputation, ruining your career, because you would not have a career if CPS actually took your children away. That would, if you're talking about things that are worthy of cancellation, I think that's pretty up there. So it's just that fear that's motivated you. Which is interesting in a way, because CPS is not the only way to instill that fear within you, and not all fear is necessarily unhealthy. If you were educated properly about the serious harm that this can cause to you and your family, maybe that would encourage you to actually clean up a little bit more. If you care enough about your family to feel that fear, that is. Which I'm not saying you don't, by the way. It would be fucking abhorrent for me to make an assumption like that, but I'm not saying you do either.
Well, here's exactly what my house looked like when the CPS lady walked in yesterday. Minus the load of dishes, because we did a load of dishes before she got here. So to some of you, I get that it's not perfect. I know a lot of people are expecting me to live in some magazine home, and that's just not reality. And the meeting went so incredibly well. She did not care what my carpets looked like. She did not care about the crayons on the wall or the dust in the window and, you know, everything. She just cared that, you know, the kids are stepping on clothes. Also, to mention my bathroom, I had my husband clean the bathroom, and that was a mistake because he did not do the toilet very well. So I am going to have to come back in there, but she didn't care about that.
Okay, so she clearly does. To say she didn't care is disingenuous in my opinion. The fact that she's coming back is not a good sign. However, I will say I'm not going to be a dick here. It looks alright. Well, it doesn't look alright, but it looks a lot better than we've seen it previously. This is probably the best that we've seen the house. Your husband really should have done a bit more of a number on that toilet though, because it's not like he didn't do enough work on it. It looks like he didn't do any work at all on it. How does your toilet even get that fucking dirty to begin with? I've lived in flats. I've, you know, entered and visited student flats before where they don't really clean the toilet, and they've lived there for a few years, and the toilet is never that bad. Like, it's bad sometimes, but fuck me. That's, I guess you do have 4 children and 3 dogs and 3... I don't know what the dogs and cats would do to your toilet, but you know what I mean. I guess it is a different living condition. I personally don't understand how the toilet can get to that level, but I guess it must have done, because if it can't, then you must have, I guess, planted something there or done it on purpose, which I'm not sure I'm comfortable making that accusation. I'm not completely laying it off the table, though, because it is obvious to me, at least to an extent, that you're doing this for some sort of attention, some sort of monetary value. Now, she did do like a 3-part Lord of the Rings style fucking trilogy series on cleaning the toilet, because that is actually what it requires to show the cleanliness of that toilet. It's not something you can do in just one movie. You need a whole trilogy for it. So as of right now, unironically, the house is probably the best that it has been in the last 5 years, which is a good thing for sure, and we can only hope that it continues to be that way, and she doesn't fall back into the trap of making it dirty for views, money, actual mental disorder, whatever it is. Let's just hope it doesn't go back to the way it was before this, for the sake of everybody who lives under that roof. And on that note, I think I'll end the video there, because that's probably the most positive thing we'll see about this whole situation is the cleanliness of that flat now. I guess the relative cleanliness compared to everything else. It's still not a clean flat, but you know what I mean. So hopefully you all enjoyed the video. As always, if you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.